What up, though? This is your boy Mike D, host of Wrestling from the 313. I am back. Want to tell everybody happy holidays. Hope everybody is getting a grub on and just enjoying this holiday. Enjoy it with your family, enjoy sports, and enjoy wrestling this weekend. Today, my guest, he's been on here before. He was here on here a year ago. His episode is actually the most viewed episode of Wrestling from the 313. They are boxing and wrestling experts representing Canada, Vancouver. My guy Samp, one half of the Samp and Chaz podcast. What's going on, homie?
Brother man, welcome. Thank you. Happy holidays to all our fans in the United States. Thanksgiving for us is in October.
Okay.
So you guys, I just realized you guys have Thanksgiving, which means a ton of football tomorrow too.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, man, it's amazing. It's amazing. How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm chilling, man. Chilling, man. Just, just enjoying life and just enjoying wrestling like always.
Awesome, brother man. Awesome. Yeah, man. We got lots going on, lots of being happening. I mean, I think from the year that in the year that we've spoken, so much has changed. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
the landscape of the game has changed. Everything's changed, right? So
Oh, yeah, definitely.
it's kind of crazy. But yeah, what do you want to do? Let's do it.
Let's go. Let's go.
Let's
So
go.
real quick, let's just talk about, what you've been up to, what's been going on with the podcast.
Yeah, dude, we've been just grinding away, working at it, chipping it away. I mean, there's the right way and there's the wrong way, and I prescribe to everybody the right way is the best way because at the end of it, it might take a little longer, it might be a little harder, but the fruit is so much sweeter. And we're starting to see traction, we're starting to gain speed, and it's just time to get that voice out there, man. So that's about it, really. We just kind of covering everything from our perspective, and just kind of doing the thing, man. That's it, really. I mean, same as everyone else. Just putting out the news, making sure everybody knows what's going on, different angles, different opinions, and that's the beauty of it, man. I mean, from show to show, from person to person, we all see things a little bit differently, but we all see it the same, and I love that.
Most definitely, definitely. That's what's up. So real quick, I know you guys talk about boxing when you're not
Hmm.
talking about wrestling. Real quick,
Yeah.
what did you think about this Tyson Jake Paul fight?
All right, so I talked about this on the show. So fans, cheap plug, check out Samp and Chance at Samp and Chance on YouTube, Instagram. You can find our full discussion. It's going to go up either tonight or tomorrow. You can find it there. But here's what I will tell you, my friend. Very simply, shame on anyone who expected anything different from what we saw. And the reason I say that is we've had a year to build up this fight. Okay, I mean to think this fight was supposed to happen in July. It happened in November. This fight was announced in early 2024. Now, at the time the fight was announced, I said to people, and I said on the show, how could this be possible? Mike's walking with a walking stick. There was a problem with his legs at that time. All right. Now, that's a key point here because what we were inundated with are old clips of Mike Tyson. And we saw
Yeah,
training clips of Mike Tyson today. So psychologically, what's your mind going to do? You're going to start to believe, oh, this is the Mike of old. This is the Mike of yesterday, but it wasn't. We were never going to get that. Those clips that we saw were 30-second clips. What
yeah,
happened after those clips? How much was he gasping for air? Was an oxygen tank close by? Yeah, he looked great. He looked like old Mike Tyson, but it wasn't him that we got. I mean, he even had trouble walking to the ring, to be completely fair. Now, all that being said, before I go any further, nothing but respect to Mike at the age of 58 to do what he did, right? I don't care who you are. I implore and I challenge anyone to do what he did at that age. So,
yeah,
we basically got what we got. And
yeah,
and Mike Tyson looked good for I said he would look good for about a round and a half. And after that, if he couldn't get the job done, it was going to be, up to Jake to decide how he was going to play it. Now, Jake Paul, poor guy, lose situation. He loses to Mike Tyson, he loses. You know what I mean? The
yeah,
critics are just going to be all over him. He knocked out, if he were to knock out Mike Tyson, if he were to do damage to the man, he would have been, villainized for the rest of eternity.
yeah,
So there was no way for the guy to win. He did the most respectful thing anyone could have done in this situation. He carried him. Yeah? He
yeah,
carried him and he controlled the fight. He could have finished him in the fourth or the fifth. but he carried him and he just touched him up, So that was the fight. That's basically what we saw. That's
Yeah.
what we were supposed to see, and that's what we got. So people complaining about it, people saying it was staged, nonsense as far as I'm concerned. It wasn't staged. Nothing of it was staged.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
do have a prediction for Mania, though.
I have been hearing a little stuff about that too. So yeah, we're gonna get into that a little bit too.
Yeah.
So a lot of people may not know you are from the Vancouver, Canada area. Survivor Series is in your hometown this
Yes,
weekend.
sir. Yes, we have
Um,
Survivor Series. Looking forward to it.
oh yeah, that definitely. So like, what's the buzz that's been going on so far in Vancouver? With it being Survivor Series weekend.
Well, okay. Well, first off, with the Thanksgiving weekend happening in the States, so we know that the WWE is not going to be here for SmackDown because normally what would happen in these shows, especially the big shows, right? When you look at the top four, I always say these are the big four. So, we start with Mania, then
Yeah,
we go to SummerSlam, Survivor Series, and Royal Rumble, right?
yeah,
Those are the big four. Everything else is kind of there when we need to see it.
yeah,
With the big four, we normally would have probably gotten SmackDown here as well, but we're not getting SmackDown. It's being pre-taped. Spoiler alert, so we already know going into the weekend who has the advantages and who doesn't, sort of a deal going into War Games. So
yeah.
from that perspective, it's kind of crappy that we don't get the SmackDown before Survivor Series, but I get what they're doing, right? One thing you have to know about Vancouver, the taxes are really high here. So that's probably another reason why they're doing the show here, so they don't have to put on the additional show,
Okay.
right? So the buzz itself it's pretty cool. To be fair, I think it's not as loud or boisterous as you may think it is, but
Okay.
people are geared up, right? People are excited. People are raring to go. I think we're looking forward to a really cool show here. We haven't had a pay per view in Vancouver in a long, long time, so this is a bonus for us. So yeah, I mean that place is going to be jumping. Place is going to be hopping. I think the hardest part for a lot of fans was with the pricing of the tickets, right? I mean the way the WWE does business now. WrestleMania 26. When I went, I got in for $35,
Wow.
right at that time, right? I mean, granted, it was 10 years ago, 11 years ago, but up until 2 years ago, when SummerSlam was at Allegiant, Chance made it in for like $40-50,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And I'm not going to go too deep on it, but let's just say that I had to take a couple extra shifts to pay for these tickets.
Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah, that's how expensive it was. Like when you went to SummerSlam in Detroit, how much was it
Um,
roughly? Pardon
probably
me.
probably a little over 200.
Yeah.
I'm
See,
not sure. Yeah, it wasn't a lot.
yeah, yeah. So ever since that point onwards, they've been doing this subjective pricing,
Yeah.
and this is where I believe that people need to appreciate what Vince did for the business, because
Yeah.
Vince was all about families and bringing in the family element. He made it affordable. Ari Emanuel, no disrespect, the man's a businessman. He spent billions to buy this thing, so I can understand the guy trying to recoup his funds. But
Yeah.
you know what? You're cutting out the real fans.
Yeah.
These events are now becoming events for people that are just casual or who have money. It's like
Yeah.
going to the Super Bowl, right? Like if Detroit, if the Super Bowl is in Detroit and the Lions are in it, I guarantee that 90% of that stadium will not contain the real Detroit Lion fans,
I totally
because
agree. Yeah.
right, because they won't be able to afford the ticket, right?
Yeah.
So this is what we're starting to see with professional wrestling, especially WWE and
Oh yeah.
UFC. Same thing. It's almost outrageous what they're trying to charge you now for tickets. So, but you know what? As long as people are buying them, I can't blame them. They're going to want to come and see it.
Oh yeah.
So, I can't throw a torch at them or anything like that. It is what it is. You're going to go see the show. You got to buck up and pay the price, right? But yeah, it's exciting. I'm looking forward to it. We're all looking forward to it, and who knows what's going to happen here, man? It's going to be very interesting. I believe we're going to see something happen here that no one's looking to see or happen. So
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. So real quick, we're gonna go through the card.
yeah,
We're gonna start with the war. No, we're gonna end with the war games matches, but
sure.
we're gonna start with the United States Championship match with Shinsuke Nakamura and
Yeah.
LA Knight.
Uh-huh.
What do you think about this story so far?
Okay, well, this story is only about 2 or 3 weeks old, right? In essence, right? Shinsuke just came back recently, and they need to do something with him. They
Yeah,
truly, truly need to do something with Shinsuke. I'm not saying they dropped the ball with him, but they never really, really harnessed the energy that this guy could potentially bring to the company. Throughout his whole run in the company, he's been up and down, up and down. He's had his moments, but he just hasn't been able to click with the audience for whatever reason. And I really believe that we're going to see Shinsuke win the title here. The reason I'm saying that is just he probably needs it more than LA Knight does. LA Knight's kind of held on to it for a while now. He's been running with it. And to be honest, what has he really done with it? To be completely fair, I mean, he's been involved with Carmelo Hayes and Andrade. He's been going back and forth there. But really, since Logan Paul, what's he really done? And I'm not taking a shot at him.
yeah,
I don't think him losing the title will hurt him, but I think it will elevate Shinsuke to a spot where he needs to be. And that whole kabuki kind of look that he has now, it kind of, I like it. It's dark, and I think they need to build off of that. And that's where I'm going to stay here. So I think Shinsuke should probably win this and, kind of see what he can do with this title now.
yeah. Here's how I hate the last two gimmicks that they've given Nakamura with this whole Assassin's Creed
Mm-hmm.
ninja type look. They need to take him back to the old character when the audience used to sing his song, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
they need to build off of that because that's when Nakamura was at his best. It was
Yeah.
Vince didn't know what to do with him, you know what I'm saying? And when Vince
Yeah.
didn't know what to do with him, like he won the Royal Rumble and then win at WrestleMania. That was the perfect time for Nakamura to be the champion. You know what I'm saying? He was still
Yeah.
hot.
100%. I
He was
totally agree.
still hot when he left NXT. And then it was just like, okay, he had his moments when he got called up. And then when he got to the Royal Rumble, he won. WrestleMania, he loses. And then it just kind of went like up and
Yeah.
down,
Yeah.
up
It's
and
good.
down from there, pretty much. It was mostly downhill. They
Mm-hmm.
need to
No,
they need
I
to
agree.
get that old character back, and he need his old gimmick. That's what I think. I don't like the whole shredder ninja type gimmick or whatever. Um, I was gonna pick LA Knight. I'm still gonna roll with LA Knight, but I do
Sure.
agree with what you said as far as Nakamura needing this win more to enhance his character.
Well, I think so too. With him coming back with the character, it'd almost be counterintuitive if they make him lose. You know what I mean? It's like, why would you bring him back at all then, right? So it's almost a given that he should win this match.
Yeah,
And what they do with him after that, I don't know. Because I mean, at the end of the day, let's just look at it in generally. Intercontinental title, U.S. title. I mean, they should be more important than they're giving it to us. So let's see what they do. Let's see. I mean, I believe based on his return, based on the fact that he's been gone for a while and he shows up the way he did, he should win. By hook or by crook, he should win, and it shouldn't hurt LA Knight at all. But like I said, WWE, as Chance would say, their booking is all over the place. It doesn't make sense. And we usually have a debate over this constantly in our show. But I would have to agree with him on this. So if he doesn't win, it's an example of the kind of booking that they're constantly doing these days. So let's see, man. Let's see how it plays out.
yeah. So you say Nakamura,
I do.
and I say LA Knight.
Yes, sir.
So let's talk about the triple threat match for the Intercontinental title. Sheamus going up against Braun Breaker and Ludwig Kaiser. What's your thoughts on that match?
Okay, well, honestly, we have a situation here where they've tried to make Braun Breaker a face, and then they had to turn him heel again to get the title back, and now he looks like he's trying to be a face again. So ultimately, I think what they're doing is they're trying to build Braun Breaker. Like when I look at the future of wrestling, I see Braun, I see Ludwig Kaiser, I see Gunther, and Dragunov are some of the names that are going to be the names that we're going to be talking about for a while. I mean, one can argue that Braun Breaker will be the next Roman John Cena type of, weight character that's going to be carrying this company in the future, sort of a deal.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. That's the way I see it. This is more of a Sheamus and Ludwig feud that just brought Braun in. I don't really see where Braun fits into it per se,
Mhm.
outside of the title. I'm going to say Braun's going to win just to keep the belt on him because I mean Sheamus doesn't need it per se. He's kind of more of the journeyman now, which is weird to say because I remember when he first debuted, and now he's already a journeyman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, this is more of a match to elevate Kaiser or Braun. And
Yeah.
Sheamus is the kind of go between guy to kind of make it happen either way.
Yeah.
That being said, I think we're going to see Braun win the title. It doesn't make any sense taking it off him.
Yeah.
And then you can go into a feud with Ludwig Kaiser and have something going there. That's the way I see this going. And Sheamus moves on to whatever he has to do next. Because I really don't know what you're going to do with Sheamus at this point. He's a journeyman. He's going to get his victory, he's going to get his losses, but the reality of Sheamus is it's not going to hurt him either way. We have to look at the future, and the future are these two guys. So
Yeah.
the feud has to come here. I'm going to say Braun.
I definitely agree with everything you said, and I'm gonna go with Braun too. Just like you said, there's no reason for to take the belt off of him. Um, and I think Sheamus is in this match basically to be the guy to take the pinfall. You know what I'm saying? So there's no reason for Ludwig Kaiser, somebody
Yeah.
that they're trying to build. And I have been reading that they're really high on him and they see him as being like one of the top heels in the future.
Oh,
Uh,
100%. I mean, Gunther and him are doing like, just off on a tangent here. But if you think about it, I think one of the hardest things to accomplish in professional wrestling is the heel role.
yeah,
Right? And one can argue that Stone Cold killed it for everybody by creating the character that he did. I
yeah,
mean, to be a true heel, Gunther and Kaiser have it down packed. So that's a true testament to those two guys. Amazing of what they're being able to accomplish
yeah,
because 90% of the time we'll boo a heel, but then we'll love him,
yeah,
right?
yeah. I totally
Like
agree.
you look at the Fast and the Furious, technically speaking, those are the bad guys.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
right, but we're cheering for them the whole time.
yeah. You're right.
So
That,
so same thing here, right? So the fact that they've been able to pull it off and Gunther is the epitome of what a real heel is, and
yeah.
it's a lost art form. So yeah, I agree with you, man. Braun for the win, and let's see where they go with that.
Oh yeah, most definitely. So the next match we're gonna talk about is the World Heavyweight Championship match that's over on the Raw brand.
Yeah.
Damian Priest going up against Gunther. What are your thoughts and who do you think is gonna win that match?
Okay. So the way they've built this match up, it shows. It seems like you get game. Look, we've already seen the match, right? The
Mhm.
match has already been done. I'm pretty safe and confident when I say that Gunther is not going to lose the title until he gets to Mania.
Yeah,
And either he fights a Brock or he fights a Braun Breaker at Mania for that title. That's the way I see it. But that keeping that in mind, I have to remember that John Cena is coming back.
yeah, yeah,
Right? He's going to be back for the whole year. So I don't know if he's going to be involved in the world title or if he's going to be a part of the universal title. But I have a feeling at some point we're going to get number 17 from him to kind of get that done and put away. So that's done. So at some point in the next year, we will see Cena champion. I don't know how that's going to play out for Mania. Will we get Gunther and Cena? Will we get Braun? I prefer Braun. If it's not Braun, it should be Lesnar against Gunther at Mania. But back to this match. The way I see it, it's basically we've seen Damian kind of carry it, and we saw at the end of Raw, we haven't seen Gunther being laid out like that before the pay per view, right?
yeah.
So that being said, I think Gunther's going to win, but I think Damian's going to show himself well. Um, so yeah, Gunther for the win, man. You don't take the belt off the guy. This guy's going to hold it right up to Mania, and if he does lose it, I think he loses it at the Rumble.
Yeah, I could see that, and especially like you said with John Cena coming back and just how they play that whole just basically how do they fit him into the title picture? Is he gonna win the Rumble? Is he just gonna pop up and challenge Gunther or whatever? So that's gonna be real interesting to see. And
Well,
another
here's
name too, CM
yeah,
Punk.
yeah. Well, this is where it gets all confusing and complicated now because we know we're going to get Seth and Punk at Mania. That's going to happen.
Yeah, yeah,
It has to happen at this Mania because of both guys. Punk has got maybe 2 or 3 matches left in him, if that, right? And that's no knock on him. Don't get me wrong. He
Yeah,
looks great. If you look at him in the last episode that he came out, when he came out with Paul, you can see he's gained some size, man. He looks bigger than he has
yeah,
ever,
yeah,
right? He's got his upper body, his chest, everything. He's looking good, right? Like he's put on some weight, he's put on some size. I
yeah.
think the odd man out in everything here is Cody Rhodes, man. Who does Cody Rhodes dance with? Where does Cody Rhodes fit into anything right now?
Yeah, yeah,
Right? We know Seth and Punk are going to go at Mania. That has to happen at Mania. You can't prolong it past it. That you can't make it for SummerSlam. You either got Cody against The Rock or The Rock versus Roman happening. And if it's Rock and Roman, that has to happen at Mania because it's already taken too long for that fight to happen. The longer it takes, the less it's going to be, have that luster and that shine to it, right?
yeah,
So you throw in John Cena as well. So I'm really excited to see how they put this all together, man, because right now it looks like Cody doesn't have anyone to dance with at Mania.
yeah. Yeah, it's and I thought about it a while back. It's a lot of scenarios that they could have for WrestleMania.
Yeah.
It's a lot of scenarios they could have for Cody. They
Yeah.
could have for Roman. They could have for The Rock.
Yeah.
That's something that we're gonna have to come back to. We're gonna have to talk about that after the show. Something that might have to be another episode.
No. Well, brother, man, I'm hoping we have many more episodes like this, man. Let's just, this is the way it is. But
Yeah.
like I said, it just the landscape is really interesting with Raw going to Netflix, all of that coming into play. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what they do. I always say Survivor Series is not the official road to WrestleMania, but this is the beginning of the road to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
What we see this weekend will kind of start to plant the seeds of what we're going to get in the next 2 to 3 months, getting to the Royal Rumble, which is, full blown road to Mania now. So it's going to be interesting to see. Very interesting to see what they do here.
Most definitely. And my prediction on the match,
yeah,
I like what they're doing with the story, kind of making Damian Priest kind of look good, kind of make him seem like he's the favorite going into this match. But Gunther is about to whoop his ass.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's just put it like that. Gunther is not about to lose to Damian Priest.
Yeah.
Damian Priest has been doing real well. He's definitely elevated himself, but he's not about to lose to Gunther no time.
No, I agree with you, man. And that's the way I'm saying it. And again, this is where the booking becomes predictable because we know there's a bigger road for Gunther down the way here. So, based on that alone, I mean, if they take the title off of him, I'll be very surprised. But it'd be one of those where he wins it back on Monday Night Raw the next week or within a couple weeks from there.
Yeah, most definitely.
And to be fair, if you're going to take it off of him, you do have Saturday night's main event as well, right?
Yep.
So we got to remember that show still exists as well.
Yeah. And and I've been reading about when they do Saturday night's main event. Saturday's night main event is gonna have like a PLE type of card.
Yeah.
And one of the matches I've been hearing that is going to take place is Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens.
Yeah, and this is where a lot of people are having issues. Like, I mean, I'm okay with it, I guess, but the reality of it is you have Survivor Series. Why isn't your Universal Champion on it? Why is he not defending the title on this show? He should be. Look, if you look at the two titles right now, when Roman had it, it meant something.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it doesn't mean something with Cody, but man, right now that world title is so much more elevated. And there's so many stories surrounding it, per se, that to me seems to be the more prominent title right now. Because Cody, let's be honest, man, since he's won it, yeah, he's been a good champion, but what has he done? Yeah. What have they accomplished with Cody Rhodes? You know what I mean? It's like he was right up here, and I'm not saying he's dropped, but there's a definite drop there in terms of the importance, people being invested in it. I mean, you're going back and forth, and it doesn't help that you team up with a guy that, you were feuding with for 2 years.
Yeah. But that also falls on WWE because, you got to think about this. Have they been doing a good job by putting stars in a position to challenge Cody? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, the reality is who is there to challenge him though? Who do you put there? There's not many guys in that role that can do it that way, right? You got Randy Orton, you got Kevin Owens, you had AJ Styles. I mean, really, at the end of the day, there's no one really on that roster you can challenge him with.
I'm gonna tell you this, and you might not agree with me on this, but I think that if this guy wasn't part-time and was a full-time wrestler, I could see him as WWE champion. Honestly, I could see him WWE champion right now. Logan Paul.
And dude, and you're absolutely correct.
Logan
And
Paul.
you know what? No, dude, you're not wrong. I mean, if you're looking for numbers and all that kind of stuff from that perspective, you're completely right. Does he deserve it? No, not in my opinion, because I'm still kind of old school. You got to pay your
Yeah,
dues, right? In my
yeah,
opinion, I come from that world of professional wrestling, even at independent shows. When I would participate and help out, tearing down the ring, paying your dues.
yeah,
That's something that I think is kind of lost the way the WWE operates and whatnot, because they're bringing in athletes from all over the world. They're not tearing down rings. They're not carrying, the posts to the truck. They're not doing those things that some of the older guys have done. Now, no disrespect to Logan. He's earned a spot. And yeah, he could be a world champion, but I don't think it's his time yet, right?
no,
And I just think, like I said, well, it's not, right? Because he is part time.
yeah,
And I think that, yeah, eventually down the road we could see that. But they did have a match already as well, right? He's defended it against Logan Paul. Logan Paul's had two title matches in essence,
that's true.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
So he's had his chance with Roman. He's had his chance with that. He had a great run with the U.S. title. I think the plan for Logan Paul, and if this is just my opinion, I think you're going to get Logan versus Jake with Mike Tyson in Jake's corner and KSI in Logan's corner.
mm, that'll be
That's for
interesting.
Mania.
That'll be
I think
interesting.
I think it's going to happen because if you remember the post-fight interview that they did with Mike Tyson, Logan was standing there, and Mike said, "Hey, I'll fight Logan next, right?" And Logan's like, "Oh, Mike, I'll kill you, I'll destroy you," sort of a deal. And then if you go to his podcast on Impulsive and Jake Paul's podcast, they talked about fighting each other, and Jake would destroy him in a boxing match, in my opinion.
Mm,
Right? If
that's
they were to fight in boxing, Jake would destroy him. He's
yeah,
miles ahead of Logan Paul. But
yeah,
in the world of professional wrestling, Logan's miles ahead of Jake Paul.
yeah,
What better way to run this where you can have Mike Tyson there as well and the real hatred that Jake Paul has for KSI.
yeah. That'll be an interesting story. The
So
one,
that's a night two match right there, brother. Number three
yeah,
on the card.
oh yeah, most definitely.
Right?
The one thing that I could give Jake, not Jake Paul, but Logan Paul props on
Yeah.
is that he respects the craft.
Oh, 100%.
You never hear stories about him disrespecting wrestlers or
No,
disrespecting what they do.
no.
He say being training to be a professional wrestler is like one of the hardest things he's ever done.
Oh, no, and
And
it is. Definitely. Have you ever run the ropes?
no, but I've been close enough. Like I've been to an indie show and
Yeah.
I got to touch like it ain't no joke. It ain't no joke.
I tell all the fans right now. Like I said, I've never competed in an actual match myself. I've had the opportunity to play the role of a manager before. I've had the opportunity to be, you know, a gimmick manager sort of a thing here and there.
Yeah,
I've run the ropes. I've taken a shot. It hurts. I don't care what anybody says. As predetermined as anyone wants to believe it, your body hurts after. It truly does. But yeah, no, Logan's doing great. I love it. The one thing that people have to understand is he looks great because he gets to work on the match,
yeah,
right? People have to understand if he knows he's fighting someone at Survivor Series, he has about a month and a half to prepare for it, where other guys just go into the match. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
So they're crafting him, they're protecting him, and I get that. But man, the guy's a superb athlete, amazing athlete. I take
yeah,
nothing away from him. I love the fact that he's respectful to the business because I love the business,
yeah.
right? So from my end, great, good on him. He's doing great.
Sweet, sweet. So all right, we about to
War game,
talk
baby.
about these war games matches. We're gonna talk about the women's first.
Yes,
I
yes.
actually think this is gonna be one of the first two matches of the night. But real quick, for the women, They just announced that Raw is going to have the women's intercontinental title. What are your thoughts on that?
Why not? They have the U.S. title for the women, then they have that. It makes more sense because, I mean, quite frankly, you need some more side stories, and there's a lot of great girls down in NXT. I implore everyone to watch NXT. I love what they're doing down there, and the girls that are coming up. It's exciting. I think we have enough base of females now where these secondary titles could actually do something. And to be fair, it's good because, I mean, otherwise you're chasing you basically have three titles that all the girls are going after: the tag team titles and the two women titles. So
Yeah.
having this, you have secondary storylines. You're able to promote and build up other girls now. So I'm looking forward to it. I have no problem with it. Right? I mean, is less is less is more better? Maybe, but we won't know until we see how this all plays out.
Right, right. Who do you think should be the first women's intercontinental champion?
That's an interesting one. I'd probably put it on Io.
Okay.
If I could put it on anyone, I'd put it on Io Sky because she's just a talent that no one should be. She should not be wasted in any way. I have nothing against all the other girls that are on the program, but right now, I think Io should be your inaugural champion. I think she did a great job as world champion, and as NXT Women's Champion. And I think she can bring something to it with that hard style Japanese. She's going to make the other girls work really hard as well, and I think that's what we need to see right now. The girls need to take harder bumps, and working with Io, you're definitely going to get that. Those kicks aren't soft, man. She,
Yeah.
she comes in hard. So I think it should be really interesting to see that. Um, because right now I think she's the biggest name that they're not doing enough with right now.
I agree. I agree. And, I would like to see the only reason why I wouldn't want to see Io win the title is because she's been a world champion already. And
Sure.
I'm one of them cats that if you've been a world champion, it's no reason for you to go back to a secondary title. You know what I'm saying?
I get that completely. I
So,
totally understand that.
so one person that came to mind
Hmm.
was Sonya Deville. I think
Yeah.
Sonya Deville, especially with her being the leader of Pure Fusion Collection,
Yeah.
I think she would be the perfect person to put the IC title on.
And if we're thinking about that, I would, if I, I would go one step further because I didn't even consider them because they haven't been on TV for a while.
Yeah,
I would have to say, oh, what's her name? Help me out here. She's a part of her faction. Shayna Baszler.
yeah, yup, yup.
Shayna would also be if it wasn't Io, I would have to say Shayna then.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then you also got the girl from NXT, Lyra Valkyria. I think she would be
Lyra, yeah, Lyra would be good too, but she hasn't been on TV either. So I think what you need to do is put that title on someone initially
yeah,
that has some name recognition just to give it that shine that it needs, right? If you were to put it on a Shayna Baszler right now, or as you said earlier, who did you say, bro?
um, right on the tip of my tongue, and I forgot, but
Yeah.
Sonya Deville.
Sonya Deville, right?
Yeah,
If you put it on either one of them, and it's no disrespect to them, who are they? We haven't seen enough of them in the last little while to be invested in them.
yeah,
We
yeah.
put it on Io, we are invested a little bit because we know who she is,
That's true. I agree with that.
right? And if you're bringing in a new title, in my opinion, you need to put it on someone who can give it a bit of shine before you start to pass it on to who needs it more, right? Like you look at that AEW title. A lot of people argue did Jericho deserve it first? Yeah, he did because he needed to put some significance on that title, give it some importance
Yeah,
before you could pass it on. If they had started AEW with Adam Page as their world champion, would
I,
people,
I agree. That yeah, you're right.
right? So
Yeah,
I think because it's a brand new title, you need to put it on someone with a bit of shine. And if she loses it in a month, it's not going to hurt her.
yeah,
And
yeah.
if anything, that elevates her back into the main event picture because right now she's not in it,
That's true. You're
right?
right about that.
On either brand, she's not in any of the title pictures. I mean, if you think about it, Damage Control is spinning their wheels.
Yeah. But I think
So,
that's also too because they had a lot of injuries because Oscar is out
yeah,
and
Dakota.
Dakota Kai is
in and out, in and
so
out, in
injury
and out,
prone. Yeah. So it's
right?
just like they have a story for him, but then with everybody getting injured, it's kind of like you got to reshuffle things
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and stuff with
100%.
them. Real
So,
quick,
yeah,
the Women's United States Championship. Who would you like to see win that?
I mean, she's got the briefcase, but I have a feel I would love to see Tiffany with it.
Tiffany,
Stratton.
Tiffany Stratton. I'm gonna go with Chelsea Green.
And you're absolutely right. I didn't think of her. She's a fellow Vancouverite. She's from Vancouver.
Oh, okay,
You
okay.
know, shame on me. Yes, Chelsea. She deserves a lot. She's amazing. I love her work. I love what
Yeah,
she's doing. She is probably one person who deserves something here. You know,
yeah,
and I say this with tongue in cheek, but she is the female Zack Ryder. Woo
yeah,
woo woo, right? I
yeah,
mean, granted, they're married, but
yeah.
the
I was
work
just
that
about to
this,
say that. Yep.
yeah, the work that she's done and everything. Yeah, you're right. You know what? I retract my Tiffany Stratton. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna agree with you, Chelsea. Chelsea, sorry, lady. I apologize. You deserve that belt.
Most definitely, most
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, yeah. She'll have fun with it. She'll make it relevant.
Yeah,
And I think what will make it more interesting. I'm a Canadian and I won it.
yeah, yeah,
Right? So I think
yeah.
he could have a lot of fun with it. So yeah, EO, am I EO or yeah, EO for me and Chelsea for me. You're right, bro.
All right, sweet, sweet. So, all right, let's talk about the women's war games match.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
got Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, Candice LeRae, Raquel Rodriguez, and Liv Morgan taking on Bianca Belair, Io Sky, Naomi, Rhea Ripley, and if
Bailey.
you read the spoilers already, the fifth member is going to be Bailey.
Yeah,
Um,
spoiler alert.
right. So, what do you think about that match and who's going to win?
Okay. I believe the heels are gonna go over. I
Yeah,
think this is a situation where we have both champions on one team. We're not even a month removed for those two fighting at Crown Jewel.
yeah,
I think the heels have more continuity than the faces do.
yeah.
I think if we're going to get some dramatics, this is where it's going to happen. Now, when I watch wrestling, I look for little details. And one thing that I noticed, when you guys watch SmackDown and we'll go back and watch it, I've never noticed that Bianca wearing a grill before. Have you noticed that before?
Nah, nah.
Yeah, she had a grill in when she was like, I have to go fight in Nia Jax and determine where we're going to be because she didn't want Bailey on the team. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And you know, kayfabe aside, I'm going to tear down the fourth wall. Jade and Bianca don't like each other in real life.
For real?
For real, man. Apparently, there's real heat between the two behind the curtain. They're a tag team, but they're not friends.
What?
Yeah, yeah. Look it up. Check it out. Go check out the dirt sheets.
I'm
Sean
a
Sapp.
yeah.
Sean Sapp is the one reporting it. I read that. Like, there is something there. Like, they're cordial. They're working well together, but they're not buddies or anything. By
Wow.
any Yeah. So Bianca Jade. That's gonna happen at Mania too,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We got that happening. I have a feeling we're gonna get someone turning on someone in one of these war game matches. But if it's not in this one, it's going to definitely happen in the men's one. I have a feeling something's going to happen there. Something's going to turn. But in this one, I think the heels are going to go over. And the only way I see the faces winning is if Rhea pins Liv. That's the only way that this can end for the faces. I think we're just going to see some discombobulation. We're going to see infighting between the girls. Bianca being whiny and cryy because Bailey's there, sort of a deal. But I could be wrong. I'm just playing it out in my head. This is the way I see it. I'm going to go the heels on this one. I think it just keeps them strong. It keeps everyone guessing. It keeps that Liv story going because that's not finished yet, right? Rhea's out for blood there. You got Candice LeRae, Naomi, who are just kind of there.
Yeah.
Like they don't really fit into anything. They're just kind of a part of it. You
Right.
do have something built in with Bianca and Bailey in terms of not trusting one another, and
Yeah.
then you got Liv and Rhea, and so I mean, that's the way I'm kind of seeing it right now.
Yeah, because I've been going back and forth with this match because it's kind of like who needs this match more and who needs to win more. And I kind of look at it like the team with Rhea Ripley, Bianca, Naomi, Io Sky, they needed more because it's like you said, that the heel team, they looking a little more dominant and there's a little bit more continuity. And
Yeah,
then you just got too many stories going on with Bianca and them who attacked Jay. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Well, I
And
mean,
you,
the reality is, if you think about who needs this win more, it would have to be Naomi or Candice LeRae.
yeah.
Those are the two girls in this match on either side that need the victory more than any of the other ones,
Yeah, I would agree. Definitely Candice LeRae, with
right?
Indy Hartwell being released and
Exactly.
now she's on
And
her own. She
yeah,
does need something to kind of get her name out there. And then
yeah.
Naomi has been she hasn't been really the top star she needs to be since
No.
she came back from TNA. So I
Well,
definitely agree with that.
she's been a sidekick to either Bianca and Jade, or she's a sidekick to Bailey. And I mean, they've given her opportunities, but she keeps losing. So how many more can you give her
Yeah.
before something pops, right? And I think the other angle is Tip. Sorry, is Tiffany in there as well? Sorry, I don't have my paper in front of me. She's on the squad, right?
Tiffany Stratton.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's on the team
All
with
right.
Liv
So
Morgan.
if the girls win, if this is the thing, what if she cashes in mid match?
Yeah, that's a possibility also.
So there's so many different angles here, but I'm gonna go heels on this one, man.
You know what? I'm gonna go the same route just because it's so many question marks with the other team, and then like you were saying with Bianca Belair, she's been kind of like showing like some heelish. She been saying some heelish stuff and doing some
Yeah,
heelish things.
yeah,
Like if you watch Raw when she said that she had to put the War Games team on her back,
yeah.
Naomi looked at her like, "What? Like for real?"
Exactly,
You know
exactly.
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So at the end of the day, who do you think is good when it's all said and done? Who do you think is going to be the one that attacked Jade?
I think Bianca did.
You think so?
I think so. She got her from behind, knocked her up, and then threw her through the glass, sort of a deal, man. I think this is where it's all going to come to. It's going to come back down to these two. You kind of already see it a little bit because if you watch, a couple of their defenses, they're not very closely linked to one another. You know what I mean? Just in general,
Yeah,
give me my title, sort of a deal. This and that. Um, it's the little details. It's kind of like watching Randy Orton. He's always looking. He's talking to Cody, but he's looking at the title,
yeah,
right? I
yeah,
mean, these are the details that I implore wrestling fans to pay attention to,
yeah. And Randy
right?
Orton did that a couple of times when with they had little
Exactly.
promos with him and Cody. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So
Oh,
I think they've done everything right by Jade, in terms of getting her better and stronger. But yeah, I think Bianca attacked her. I think this is going to keep going. We won't know who did it until after Royal Rumble,
mhm.
but this is the match that we're going to get at WrestleMania.
Sweet. Yeah, I agree. Um, if it's not Bianca, I'm gonna throw in two more names:
Sure.
Bailey and Charlotte Flair.
Well, Charlotte's due back anytime soon, but no one's seen her, right? So I mean,
Yeah,
that could just come completely out of left field, right?
yeah,
That'd be the swerve of all swerves. Actually, I'm kind of curious to see how that plays out. But yeah, we haven't seen Charlotte in a long time, right?
yeah,
She's due back soon, so we see how this happens. I think we're saving her for Netflix on Raw.
yeah. I can
She'll
see
come
that.
back then,
I can see
right?
that.
They want to make that show big. And the
Yeah.
problem with having Charlotte back, there's only one direction she goes. She goes main picture right off the bat,
Oh yeah, most definitely.
right? So you want to save her, you want to protect her before you bring her back. So I think that's probably where we're going to see her.
Most definitely. Most definitely. So now we get to the big match, the match that has been built up probably since WrestleMania, after WrestleMania.
Yeah.
We got the new bloodline. We got Solo, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, Jacob Fatu, Bronson Reed going up against the OG bloodline, Roman
Yeah.
Reigns, Jimmy Uso, main event Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, and CM Punk. What are your thoughts? Who do you think is going to win?
Okay, well, first off, I thought this was just going to be a 4-on-4. I didn't think they were going to try to get to
And it should have
5-on-5.
stayed that way, in my opinion.
And I agree with you, but when they brought in Bronson Reed, I said, well, the guy already looks Samoan.
Yeah.
So he kind of already fits into that crew. It was the other side that I was more concerned about. And I think they could have done a better job, in my opinion, in building that side up. This is probably the only weak point of this entire 2-year story that I feel it's been the weakest. We get Roman Reigns calling Paul Heyman, and he gets a dial tone. This number's out of service. The following week, he's there.
Yeah.
So what happened in between?
Right.
This is what I struggle with. How could Heyman show up automatically? What does that mean?
Yeah.
Right? I really thought, because they're talking about Brock a lot more. We're seeing a lot more Brock, mentioned on the program now. I really thought that Brock was going to be the fifth man. And if I was booking it and if I was writing this story, you would get Heyman saying, ladies and gentlemen, when the fifth member was supposed to come out.
Mm-hmm.
And Brock comes out to the fifth member. Right? But giving it to us the way they did, it makes me just kind of wonder, like, how does this make sense? Where was Paul Heyman? Did Heyman actually contact him? Did they talk? Because Roman looked confused, like, well, how did this happen?
Right. Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but I look at it this way. You look at what he was wearing. Paul Heyman has never been seen without a shirt and tie.
Yeah.
He looked like a white Solo Sikoa.
Yeah, he did.
Right?
He did.
And he brings out CM Punk, the original OG Paul Heyman guy.
Yeah.
Right? So you got him in there. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to be a heel turn, but if there's going to be a heel turn here, this could be it right here where Punk turns on them. And Heyman plays his role in it. The argument can be made. Heyman can come back and say, where were you, my tribal chief, when I was getting thrown through a table?
You're right.
Why did you abandon me? Well, here's my question. Why did you stay with them then? Why did you leave when Roman left?
Yeah, that's true.
You're Roman's wise man. Why did you stay with these guys?
Yeah, that is true. That
Right?
is true. Because you never saw Paul Heyman on TV when Brock was gone. You know what I'm saying? Paul Heyman always came back with Brock.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Right? So I don't know if they're trying to swerve us in the wrong direction by having him come out dressed like that. Mm-hmm. If it's a continuous trend, then we can maybe build something up on it. But these are just initial reactions to what I saw. And I think of it this way. I think what we're going to get at Royal or Survivor Series here at this War Games, by all accounts, the faces should go over.
Yeah.
That's what we should see. But with this booking, the way they do things and now,
Yeah.
But based on what we've seen, how we've seen Roman take a loss, right? Yeah, Roman lost to Solo.
Yeah.
We've seen Roman take that thumb to the throat on a couple occasions now.
Yeah.
So by all accounts, I think this is where the original bloodline kind of takes the victory. But this is where we might see The Rock come out and establish himself as the guy behind the new bloodline.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And he's the one, he's kind of like the wild card of out of all of this, because, when he pops up, because the last time he had popped up, he did the little thing, the cutthroat thing.
Yeah.
And then if you saw on the internet, when the rest of the bloodline was in the crowd, he was saying something to Jacob Fatu, like, this is all part of the plan. So
yeah.
I definitely think that The Rock and the new bloodline are together.
I almost have a feeling, man, that this is where it's going to kind of, because what do you do with the story after this? If Roman and these guys win, what happens to those guys? You have to keep the story going somehow, right?
Yeah.
So if that's the case, this is the way to do it. Someone has to turn on someone. Even if Roman and them win, someone has to turn on someone to keep the new bloodline justified.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's no point to the new bloodline after this.
Yeah.
Right?
So this is who I think should have been the fifth member, and I think this would have been perfect. Of course, Seth Rollins didn't want to team up with Roman Reigns. I think the perfect person would have been Braun Strowman, especially with all the beef that him and Bronson Reed had. They could have kind of went back to that just for this match for a second, and
Could
then
have.
Bronson could have went back to him and Seth could have had they battle or whatever. I really wish it would have been 4-on-4, but if they was gonna add somebody, I think it should have been Braun. Storyline wise, it would have made sense.
It would have made sense, but this also kind of makes sense because it has us all guessing and thinking about what's what, right? We're sitting here talking about it from different angles. Yeah. I mean, I don't think Braun would have fit into this game at all, just for the fact that we haven't seen enough of him, right? And it just kind of comes down to that. Bronson Reed's already lost to this guy.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, if you think about it, I feel bad for Bronson Reed. I'm happy that he's in here. Why? Because he never was even a part of the card in Australia when he's Australian.
Yeah.
He wasn't even a part of that Australia Super Show where he should have been, right?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I think of him and Omos as the same way. You got these two guys that are monsters, but they've lost to all the big guys.
Yeah.
So, the fact that, Bronson is trying to find his way and, keeping, establishing him in a part of this crew, it makes sense because it elevates him again. It makes him look strong, right? Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, that's still the stronger team. That Samoan Werewolf is next level.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
right? Jacob Fatu was signed, but they held off bringing him on for as long as they possibly could because they were afraid that he would overshadow Solo Sikoa.
Yeah. I mean,
and
he's still doing it, so it's like, really, what matters? You know what I'm saying? What does it matter?
Yeah.
But this is what I think. Like, this is why I think that this story is bloodline story is gonna go up until WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I do think that the OG bloodline is gonna win. I think you just need that moment. You know what I'm saying? You brought the group together. You brought the old guys together.
Yeah.
CM Punk has joined them. Paul Heyman kind of get his revenge because they put him through a table.
Sure.
But I just think that there are a couple of things that we still haven't seen yet. We still haven't seen Roman against Solo Sikoa for the little necklace thing. We still haven't seen and we still haven't seen Roman Reigns against Jacob Fatu. And I think that's the one-on-one match that everybody wants to see. Well, so I think that it's going to linger on up until WrestleMania.
Well, I think this is what we're going to get. We got Royal Rumble, we got Elimination Chamber coming up, and we have those shows before Mania.
Yeah, most definitely.
So again, things change on a dime in this world, in this industry, as we already know, right? So how it's going to play out, I don't know, but those are future matches for him. I mean, quite frankly, like I said, if it's not Cody who's the odd man out, what does Roman do for Mania? You know what I mean? Like, you just look at those two guys, Cody and Roman, are the biggest question marks, in my opinion, going into Mania season.
Yeah. It's a lot of scenarios. It's a lot of scenarios with these two. Like, I could.
Well, let me ask you. Would you want to? Let me ask you your opinion. Do you want to see Roman Rock, or do you want to see Rock Cody? I'm more invested in Cody and Rock.
I kind of want to see both.
I do too. Don't get me wrong. But if you had to pick one, right? Because if you look at it either way, one of these guys seems like the odd man out with no program going forward.
Yeah. But even if it's Rock and Roman, you could still have Cody, Randy Orton.
Yeah.
Because, with Randy Orton looking at the belt and stuff during the promos. And you could always go back to Cody and Gunther. Gunther did lose to Cody at the Crown Jewel. So he could be looking for a little revenge.
But let's not forget.
And I was just about to say that too. John Cena versus Cody Rhodes. That could also be another possibility.
But I have a feeling it's going to be Orton and Cena at Mania.
Yeah. I could.
Now it could be Cody defends against Randy, Randy beats him at the Rumble.
Yeah.
He holds the belt going in, and then he loses to Cena at Mania.
Yeah.
Dude,
Real
we
quick.
could write. Yeah.
If John Cena wins the 17th championship and becomes the the guy with most championships,
Yeah.
what do you think that catapults him into the GOAT conversation, or
I
what do you
think he
think?
already is, bro. I already put him in that conversation automatically.
I agree.
The reason I'm saying is, if you my Mount Rushmore looks like this: Undertaker, John Cena, Rock, and Stone Cold.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
Okay. The reason I say that is, show me another guy that's being able to be a face and be on top as long as Cena was.
Yeah.
Rock's run wasn't that long. Stone Cold's run truly wasn't that long. In essence, if you look at from the beginning to the end, it was only 4 to 5 years. Cena stayed on top for over 10 years,
You're right. You're right.
right?
I
On
kind of
top.
say that John Cena's like the LeBron James of the
No,
WWE.
100%, and he is, and
Yeah.
he's doing all the right things, and he's putting talent over. He's doing everything he's supposed to do. So respect to him. I think Undertaker is the king of wrestling because there's
Oh,
no one in the world who can take one character and run it for 30, 35 years plus
yeah. I agree.
with subtle changes.
Yup.
You know,
Yup.
so you can't touch that, man. We live in a world of short attention spans. People don't care. They get bored quick.
Right. Right. Most definitely. Well, you know what, Sam? I appreciate you coming back to the 313.
Thank you, brother. Thank you
You
for
have
having me.
your first time on the show is the most viewed episode. It's close to
Thank you.
100 views.
Thank
So
you.
we hope that this episode passes the first episode.
Oh, it will. We
And
will.
oh yeah, most definitely. And anything you got going on, anything you want to plug, any shout outs you want to.
You know what, guys, gals, listen. Love professional wrestling. Enjoy it. Accept it for what it is. Don't overthink it. Just enjoy it. Just enjoy the program. Right? That's what it's meant for. If you're not enjoying it, then find something else to enjoy. And I don't mean that in a mean or negative way. We know what wrestling is. We're not naive. We love it because of the psychology and what it represents and how it makes us feel inside. So from that perspective, I tell everybody, take off the blinders and just watch it for what it is. It is what it is, right? I mean, quite frankly, every Fast and Furious completely should not happen the way it does. But we love it. We love the car crashes. We love the acrobatics. We love the explosions. This is what wrestling is. So I love it. Also, I just want to tell everyone straight up, life is hard, guys and girls. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you're going through. Just remember, keep working hard. Fight for your dreams. Don't let anyone stand in the way of what you want to achieve. Very simply put, if people support you, you love them and you work with them. If they don't support you, that's awesome because you don't have to put any effort into them and they've just made it easier for you.
Yep. Absolutely right.
There you go, man. That's my message to the world. And yeah, man, let's connect. Let's get back together after the Survivor Series and we can talk about it if you're up to it. And yeah, we'll love to get you back on our show as well. And we'll chop it up there as well.
Sweet, sweet, sweet. Once again, Samp, thank you for joining us. Shout out to your partner, Chance.
Thank you. Yes.
And I know he's a big wrestling fan as well as a boxing fan. So,
Yeah.
Want to give a shout out to him and hopefully he checked this episode out. I want to give a couple shout outs. Want to give a shout out to Friends of the Square Circle podcast, Mayhem Media, the Joe Monroe Show, the Sports for You podcast, and the
Awesome.
Sports for You Wrestling podcast, the Holy Shit podcast out of Detroit.
Nice.
Just everybody that's out here podcasting, Samp and Chance, you guys, just everybody that's just doing this thing. And like you said, just enjoying your pro wrestling and just
brothers and sisters, the
they
pie. I'll say this, sorry, brother. The pie is huge. There's enough for all of us to have a slice and to take some home.
Most definitely, most definitely. And
all right, brother.
We're about to get up out of here. Once again, my guest, Samp. I am your host, Mike D. Wrestling from the 313. We are out. Peace.
Awesome, brother, man. Peace. Beautiful. That was great.